Welcome back. Today I'm going to be showing you how to measure drums and rotors to determine if they can be resurfaced or if they need to be replaced. This is going to be just the measurements, not the machine, nothing like that. And I'll use some tools that some of you may not have access to at home. So in my tool cart here, I have a drum and a rotor. Now I know what both of these are off of because it's written on them. So this one's upside down. But we've got a rotor off a 2016 Ford F-150. This is a front rotor. And then the drum is off of a 92 Dodge Dakota two-wheel drive. These were two of the better ones that I had to pick from as far as practice measuring. So I've got them here. I'm going to show you how to determine whether or not these are good to reuse. And we're actually going to start out here on the drum. Now, one of the first things that you're going to want to know are your specifications for the drum itself. Some of them, like this one, actually have the maximum diameter cast right into the outer ridge. So if we read this one, the maximum diameter is 230 millimeters. This is actually a lot older than I would have expected to see a metric measurement. This is probably a replacement drum. But anyway, we've got that cast right in. Now, if you're in Michigan like I am, a lot of the time this is just flat out too rusty to tell what it actually says. So if this is too rusty or not there, your next step is to go to service information. Now, there's a few different forms of that. You can use online resources such as ProDemand, All Data, Chilton, things like that. Chilton has some books as well. I'm not sure if the other two do. But anyway, you can go to an online resource like that. You could also go to the manufacturer, which honestly, for a 92 Dodge, I doubt you'll find much in the way of factory service information. They've really purged most of this older stuff at Chrysler. This was pre-online resources. The newer stuff that was online from day one will probably stay there forever. This stuff was pre-online, so if it didn't get backed up in an online resource at Chrysler, they threw away the manuals. Anyway, now one of the first things you need to figure out is your overall rough estimate on the drum size. A 92 Dakota could have really had two different options. It could have had a 9-inch drum or a 10-inch drum. Now, if you're really good at eyeballing this, you might be able to say what it is right off. But for most of us, we're going to grab a tape measure and just kind of hold it across there and get a rough estimate. And if that shows up, that's 9-inch. It is roughly 9-inch. Do you have to figure out exactly what it is with the tape measure? No, but you need to at least have a starting point. So I always start with the tape measure. From there, where we'll go is we'll find the actual specs for it, which we covered on the front side. It was 232 millimeters, if I remember right. But being that I'm in the United States and we don't believe in the metric system here, I need to know what it is in inches. I could convert that 232 and I should end up with this maximum diameter of 9.060 or 9-inch 60 thousandths. Drums are a little bit different than disc brakes. As a disc brake wears, it gets smaller. As a drum brake wears, it actually gets larger. So you will start off at a small point, and as it wears out, it gets larger and larger. That's why we have a maximum diameter on the drum brake. And if you saw it on that sheet there, we have a minimum thickness on the disc brake. Now this is the tool that we are going to use to measure the drum, and it's not properly set up yet. We'll get there in a second. And if you saw some of the other scribblings on that paper, it's because I'm assuming the numbers on the back of here are probably not going to show up on camera. So what we've got here, these are our numbers on the back side of this tool. So we've got the right side is expressed over here, and the left side, I didn't realize how much room it was going to take, so it starts out up here and then wraps around. So we'll start out on the right side. So the right side has basically 4 settings on this particular setup, and pretty much all of the old school measurement tools like this are the same or similar enough that you should be able to figure it out from this. So when we set this up, 6 inch and 7 inch are at this mark, 8 inch and 9 inch are at this mark, 10 and 11 are here, 12 and 13 are there. And that runs for the entire range of those sizes. Now, one of the things that I could not find on the online service information I was using was the new diameter of this drum. I wouldn't be surprised if the new diameter was actually slightly less than 9 inches. I happen to know this one's been turned a few times, so I expect it to be over 9 inches. But new may have started out in the 8 range. Now on this particular setup, that doesn't really matter because 8 and 9 are the same spot on the right. So we'll go ahead. I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see this. You loosen up this set screw, adjust it in until the inner edge is lined up with the 8 and the 9 mark. So it's right there. Tighten up this set screw and it locks it in place. Now the left side is going to be a little bit more complicated. I'm going to pull this away, write these numbers out, and then we'll come back to it. These expressed in a fraction, we start out at 6 inch. So if we line up this side and right here we have the measurements for 6 inches. Now there are hash marks in between there. The largest one in the center is going to be half. There is a quarter on each side, so as we go away from the 6, it's 1/4, half, 3/4. In between each one of these, we have our eighths. So 1/8, 3/8, 5/8, 7/8. As we express these in a decimal form, I'm going to go ahead and pull this back away again. Now this is going to start getting rather hard to read, but each one of these notches is 125 thousandths of an inch. So we'll start out 125, 250, 375, 500, 625, 750, 875, and then up to a full next number. Now the area that we're going to start out with is down lower, and we expect this to be very close to the 9. So these numbers are in between each of the whole number sets. So if you have something that's maximum diameter is, say, 9 inch, 460 thousandths, you will set it up on this mark because that would give you 9 inch, 375 thousandths, and then the dial, which I started to draw but did a pretty bad job on, so hopefully you can see it. The dial has 130 thousandths worth of movement to it. So the dial effectively takes up the space in between these notches. So for this particular one, it's going to be very easy. We will set it up for 9 and 9 and see where we're at. So on this one, I loosen this up again. Oops, a little bit looser. Slide it over to where it lines up with the 9. When you tighten it up, it locks down into these grooves and is supposed to be relatively accurate. Now when we install this, we've got a button on the back side here. As that button moves, the pointer on the dial moves. To install this into the drum, you slip the button side in first, and then you push the button side towards the drum until the other side slips in. Now what I usually do is I hold firmly back on the opposite side, and I'll kind of come in here and I'll work this back and forth until I get my reading. And I must have a little bit of rust here. But what you're looking for is you're looking for the highest number that shows up on this die. When you get to the highest number, that means that you have found the largest or the accurate diameter of the drum. So as I'm wiggling this back and forth, I am seeing just over 25 thousandths. So right now this drum is at, I would say, maybe 26. So 9 inch, 26 thousandths. Now when you go to pull this thing out, if you pull up on this side, the plunger snaps out and it's kind of hard on this gauge. So you always want to press that in a little bit, lift the other side out, and then slowly release that so you don't damage the tool. I'm going to move it 90 degrees and do the same thing. So I'm getting about the same measurement here. Now again, this thing has some rust to it. It is not a perfect example. It kind of jumps around a little bit. But we're getting that same 925, 927, somewhere in that range. All right, so they do also make this in digital. If you're going to buy one of these today, go ahead and buy the digital. It's easier to use, it's accurate enough. Honestly, all the moving parts inside of here, I don't think these are super accurate anyway. So the digital one is probably every bit as accurate, if not more accurate. I don't have a digital one to show you. If I buy one of these in the future though, it will be digital. All right, and you are upside down to me, so I'm gonna be trying to write this upside down. But so our maximum diameter is 9" 0, let's say 27. And I just wrote that upside down, so hopefully it's right. So we've got a little bit of room. As we machine this drum, this number will increase. So if we look at that and we've got a maximum diameter of 60 thousandths, we still have roughly 30 thousandths we can cut out of this drum and put it back on the vehicle. Now that's not really that much because 30 thousandths is 15 thousandths per side. So if you take 15 thousandths out over here, you also take 15 thousandths out over there. You add those up, that's 30 thousandths. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something here today, and I'll see you next time. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Still trying to grow this channel, so if you know somebody that may also be interested in this kind of stuff, go ahead and share it out. Thanks again.